Hello, I'm Scott Lukes from Echo Summit Property Management. This topic deals with medical marijuana. We often joke at Echo Summit that property management is the art of dealing with the gray area, and there's no area that's more gray right now than medical marijuana. The big issue, of course, is that federal law and Colorado state law differ from one another, and of course we know that overall federal law will always trump state law, which means that as long as you have a stance on medical marijuana policy, you're never going to get in trouble for allowing or not allowing medical marijuana. How would you get in trouble? Well, somebody with a pot card wants to rent from you. You've got a no pot policy at your house, and they say, this card means I'm disabled. So under the Americans with Disabilities Act, I'm asking for reasonable accommodations from you. Just as if somebody is handicapped with a wheelchair asks for a wheelchair ramp, or somebody with a seeing eye dog asks to bring their dog in to a no pet property, they're asking for the same accommodation. As long as you have a documented policy on medical marijuana, you're going to be safe, you're going to be okay. The best way to do this is to have in your published selection criteria, when somebody fills out an application, right, and you communicate to them, whether it's a piece of paper or a document that's on your website, what your criteria are for selection in terms of medical marijuana. You disclose that to them before you run their credit, you're going to be okay. And then obviously when they sign the lease, you reiterate that. A lot of people now also have a crime and drug-free addendum on their lease, which also helps to even further cover. So I'm not saying and I'm not suggesting that you allow or disallow the use of medical marijuana or consumables, etc. But you do have to have a policy, and you have to absolutely 100% strictly stick to that policy, as with anything in property management. So if you do allow medical marijuana, and especially growing, well, I guess the first thing is just like being in a, having a property where you allow vicious breeds of dogs. You're always going to have willing and able renters, and so there are a lot of property managers out there and a lot of properties that are allowing people to grow. Here's where you have to be very careful. If it turns out that the renters are doing something illegally or improperly, and there's some sort of a indictment or some sort of lawsuit that happens as a result of that, you as the landlord are going to be brought into that as well, and you're going to be held accountable just as the renter is. So if you do allow medical marijuana and growing in particular, make sure you really know your stuff. So that's it on this topic. For more information on this and other topics, please visit us online at echo-summit.com/education.